So what's your favorite stir fry? Have you ever had Thai basil beef? It's spicy, sweet, and savory all at the same time. And of course, so delicious and easy. That's coming up next on Spanish Fork 17's Cooking Made Easy with June, brought to you by Macy's, the happy shopping store in Spanish Fork. Hi, welcome to Happy Thai Girls Cooking Made Easy with June, or you could say Macy's Cooking Made Easy with June, because they have provided all the ingredients for all of our shows and they're so awesome. In fact, I got this beef because it was on sale. You know, beef has been pricey lately. Normally, if you would really want a tender, you think a quick stir fry, you would pick a sirloin or a steak. But I thought, you know what, I want to make a lot of it. Food, and so because we have a lot of people, this roast was on sale, so I decided to use it. So the thing about, I read somewhere or I saw somewhere on YouTube or something, it was this guy who was promoting any kind of beef. Any kind of beef is good as long as you slice it really thin, because beef is beef. And it's just, so if you make it, although I don't 100% believe in that, because some cuts are more tender, but I believe that you can have, like, this is a roast, and this is a rump roast. And normally you would take a rump roast and you would put in a crock pot and have pot roast, and it's so good. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to slice it thin to make it delicious. And so I'm going to start out by just cutting up off this part, which you would leave it on if you're making a pot roast, because this fat part will add so much flavor to your pot roast. But of course, it would be simmering all day long, or 3 hours in your oven, right? So I'm just going to cut that off. I honestly, even though it's a little pricier, I honestly love beef, because beef, there's not much waste. And when you buy beef, what I find is that you estimate a quarter pound per person. So if you're going to make a pot roast and you have 6 people to feed, you want to do a quarter pound per person, so that's like 1.5 pounds, something like that. So, so if you like that tidbit, it always works for me. Okay, so I'm going to slice this really thinly. See how I almost shave it? And now I kept it in this big piece because I actually would love to have wider flavors. And another way I'm going to tenderize it, besides starting off with thin beef, is I'm going to let it simmer a little bit longer. Like, see, when you cut this, you can see the gristles. So then you can just avoid those gristles, see? Because if a knife can't even cut that, that's gonna be too chewy, right? So, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to cut this like this. And it doesn't have to be in any particular shape, okay? But I think what I'm gonna cut it in half like that. Now, some of you do not eat meat, right? But it's okay. Then you could do a tofu or chicken, of course, basil chicken. That's also in my recipe book. This is Thai basil beef, so it's also in my recipe book, Thai Food Made Easy. You can go to Cedar Fort Press, or you can go to my Instagram and find out where you can find the link to purchase it. So see how I'm just making a really thin cut right there? And then when I run into a gristle, I just cut it off and throw it away. Why do we want that bite to be a gristle, right? And notice when I come down on it, sometimes I just scrape it like that. Now, of course, my knife is not that great either. So I'm gonna do a little bit more, and then I'll finish it off when we have the camera off. So we won't spend too much time on cutting beef. Okay. All right, let's just do this end too. I don't know why I do that. I just shift things around, right? I guess you could also do it like that. Maybe I need to go sharpen my knife. Okay, so I'm gonna just put this over here for now, and I'll finish this in a sec. All right, so I'm going to switch knives and cutting board. And wash my hands. And I'm going to show you the other ingredients. We have this, my kids, Mother's Day present, herb garden, asked for it. But I mean, you could smell this like across the room. I just love the smell of fresh Thai basil. This is Thai basil. So the question is, okay, can you eat these little flowers? So I looked that up on Google, and you can eat the flowers. They even recommend you can sprinkle it on top, or you can make a tea out of it, like a Thai basil tea. And honestly, it smells to me like licorice. So I've already washed it, and so I should have picked it today, but I picked it yesterday, so it's a little bit wilty looking. But all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the leaves, because that's all I want is the leaves. But although that's really pretty. And you can eat it, so if we get some on there, it won't hurt us. Right? So I'm just going to put some of the leaves here. Now, if you go to the Asian store, I've not found Thai basil, fresh Thai basil anywhere but the Asian store. But at Macy's, I know they have the regular basil, like beautiful plants, for like $3, and so that's an option. You can also do basil with the sweet basil that you just get regularly. You can also use that, but it'll change the flavor a little bit because it's a different basil, of course, because this basil to me is so unique. It's, like I said, licorice. To me, it smells like licorice. So, but if you go to the Asian store to get it, the leaves are bigger because they grow it to sell there, so it's commercially, and so someone must be really good at growing Thai basil. But you can buy, and they'll come in stalks like this. However, the leaves are much bigger. So, okay, so I'm gonna do just a little bit more of that, and just quickly, gosh, you guys, this smells, I just cannot. I mean, this is I could see it being very therapeutic, how we have herbs and essential oils and things that just cheer us up. But, because the leaves are little, I'm gonna go ahead and use as much as possible. Okay, so we have that for now, and that should be enough for now, and it looks kind of with all these little stringy things, but okay. So then I'm going to go ahead and do another thing too, is these peppers. So when you make stir fries, you want to prep as much as you can, so because when you start cooking, it's ready to go. So you've gotta be ready when the heat gets hot. So I'm just going to split it open a little bit. That's all I'm gonna do. And now I'm going to warn, maybe I might not use all of this, but so warning, Spencer and Adam. So I'm just gonna do that for now, and I'm going to, I'm going to do the peppers. Usually, now there's not a lot of vegetables really in the basil beef because it's primarily basil and beef, but I like to add a little bit of a vegetable so that we have some color in it. So now the only thing, I guess you could use a yellow pepper. Now if you have red pepper and you have the bell pepper, you're going to mistaken the red pepper with the bell pepper and just go ahead and eat a bite. So, but it'll be fine because it's a big stir fry and it's not gonna be that hot, honestly. It'll be a little bit spicy, but not that spicy. Well, it depends on who you're talking to, right? So we have that, and we're gonna do the peppers. Oh my gosh, the seeds are flying everywhere. Now, some people like to make it all clean and they take off the seeds, but I'm fine with this. Then we have our green pepper. I'm gonna just do a little bit of, I'm not I don't like to waste too much of anything. I'll take a little bit of that off. So that adds a little crunch to it instead of just having the beef and basil. So green pepper. So again, if you look at the colors, and of course the flavors, Between the green and the red, there are a slightly different flavor to each one, to the red bell pepper and the green bell pepper, and the yellow and the orange. In general, they're about the same, but they do have a slightly different flavor to them. But mostly, I love to use a medley of colors, peppers, so that we can have some good color. Okay, and then we have the onion. So we're going to cut that. Again, you should know how to cut onions by now. I just like to just take it off like that and take all that stringy part off so that you don't eat it. And as far as a stir fry, I'm just going to do it into thirds on both ways, so we have just chunks of onions like that. See, like squares. So I'm going to put this by the beef. And the last thing we're going to do is the garlic. And if you guys watch my show regularly, you know you should know how to do garlic by now. In fact, you could just speed up a little bit here and go to the next part of our show. But I'm just gonna do this really quick. And then I'm gonna mince the garlic really quickly. And so stir fries are basically the same. We prep all your ingredients first so that when you heat up the heat, you just do it. Okay, and I'm hoping you guys already started your pot of rice, which I have. And so it's all ready to go. And I love stir fries because, you know, it's a quick meal, all your meat and vegetables are all there, as long as you have the ingredients. And you can modify what you have and what you don't have. Okay, I was gonna cut that end off, but I'm not going to. Okay, so this is the garlic, and then that's it, really. And I might add the tomato, I'm not sure. If I do, I'll cut it up and I'll see you in the next segment. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break and come back. And when you guys come back, we're going to put it all together. It's going to be so fun. Welcome back. We have everything ready to start our stir fry. I have the wok. I love this electric wok. It heats up really fast, and see, I put it on high sear, and you notice how the oil just does that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic. And brown that. I'm also going to add my, how many should I put in? 1, 2, 3. Let's just do 3. I'm a little bit worried about these guys, but just a little spice won't hurt anyone, right? Okay, see how it's quickly browning? I'm going to go ahead and add our beef. It's okay if you get a little bit of other stuff on there. And I'm going to do a little tiny bit of salt as a step of flavoring your meat. In every cooking process, it helps to do those kinds of things. Oh, I just got some pepper. Okay, a little bit there. Yum. I'm actually going to, beef doesn't take really long to cook. Ooh, I taste the pepper. I smell it going into my throat a little bit. But we have other things to put in. So, oh goodness. Okay, I'm gonna stay away a little bit like this, okay? And so we don't have to like cook beef until it's completely not pink, because it's going to, you can have the beef to be a little bit pink, right? and we're going to still be cooking other things. So at this point, it's mostly brown and cooked. So I'm going to add a little bit of my oyster sauce. Okay, I can open it. There we go. Bit of my oyster sauce. About a tablespoon is what it calls for. Woo! And then I'm going to add the fish sauce. About a tablespoon. My favorite brand, I could not find at the time. And now this one I'm supposed to add 2 tablespoons of it. I still have it on high sear. Okay, so I'm going to stir this a little bit. Add a little bit of accent. I'm actually going to tenderize it. Let me go ahead and add my brown sugar, which was a tablespoon. I think it should be, because the beef is really thin, I don't think it's going to be not tender. Just have to chew it a little bit longer. But I still want to simmer it. Oh no, I'm going to add the onions. And then, now again, like I said, beef stir fry, or stir fry in general. I'm trying to think how it came about. Well, every time I make stir fry, I think about chopsticks. I don't know, because I don't know why. I usually eat chopsticks with noodles. I think I read one of the school passages I read to when I was an elementary school teacher. It was the history of chopsticks. And I thought it was so interesting that the Chinese emperor, it was the invention of the Chinese. And if you really think about it, the only utensil you need is the chopstick. You can slurp up your soup in your bowl, so you don't need a spoon. You poke with a chopstick. You pick up with a chopstick. It's awesome, right? Okay. So I'm going to add my onion, let it cook for a little bit. Now, I honestly don't really care I like crunchy onions. Some people, if you prefer to have your onions a little bit more cooked, at this point you can cover it and let it simmer a little bit if you'd like. But I think I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of everything. I'm going to add my basil, my scraggly onions over there, my bell peppers. Oh goodness gracious, I smell that wonderful smell. And the pepper. Gosh, I hope it's not too hot for Adam and Spence. But we'll temper it with some rice. Now, a lot of stir fries, people like to add like a little bit of cornstarch. And you can if you'd like. But I'm really good with the way it is. I just like to not add another thing to it. And some people, again, some people like to just let the vegetables cook a little bit longer. And you can cover it if you'd like and steam it a little bit longer. So, but like a minute, not too long, because who likes a soggy vegetable? You want it to be the least cooked, a flash fry, a flash cook. So, okay, that's it. Goodness gracious. You guys, come back. We're going to plate it and talk about it and eat it. It's gonna be so much fun. Okay, you guys, welcome back. So I love this pan. And it's a magnolia line. And so I decided to put it in here. And we got some rice and some cute bowls. And so I'm going to, now the stir fry, well, Adam put some more peppers on it while we were gone. So, but I think it'll be fine, because I should be okay, right? But I haven't eaten a lot of hot lately. So I don't know. Okay, so if you look at it, you know how there's no cornstarch. I just didn't put cornstarch. I don't love to, and but sometimes some dishes call for it, and you can see some of this. I'll see, look, a pepper fell out of that. I'm just gonna put a little bit in my bowl here and take a taste. Put a little bit of juice. Okay, so the beef, let's see if that beef is tender. Ooh, I taste the pepper. I like it. Sweet and spicy, and the vegetables are still crunchy. They cook really fast, so I have to watch. You have to watch and make sure your stove turns off when you're finished with it, and do the quick stir fry. And so you have a little bit of rice and the crunchy vegetables. It's good with a regular basil, but also if you can just grow some, if you can just grow some, or it's not hard. I think you can just get a little pot somewhere, or go to the Asian store and get some of this. But either way, okay. So you guys, there you go. You have basil beef. It's all in my cookbook. This is worn because I use it too. I know. Oh, I use it. Well, I do. Because instead of just throwing in there and second guess myself, I need to do the recipe, right? So each page, when I wrote it, and there's, each page has these little, this is an old one, but see these little tie? Well, so when we first published it, when we were editing it, they sent me a copy and it was brown. And I said, oh, could you incorporate some Thai colors? Because Thai colors are not brown and green all the time. So I sent her a picture of all these rolls of Thai silks. And so she is awesome. Her name is Melissa. And every section, there's a little embellishment of Thai colors. Like this section is the appetizer section, and it's blue and salads. And then you go into the next section and you have green. See how beautiful that is? So we have the section, and there's a whole section on stir fries. And there's my basil beef, a whole section. There's basil beef, basil chicken. I put kayat sai, it's kind of a stir fry. That's the omelet. Basil chicken, basil beef, and you have we're gonna have to do this in one show, it's pat pak bung. But we don't have this particular vegetable, so I've been using collard greens. You guys are gonna die. Collard greens, stir fry. It's not that, in the South they cook it with lots of fat back and all that. Well, no, we didn't do that. It is stir fried, and you're gonna love it. So it's available on cedarfort.com, cedarfort.com, and you can go to the link in my Instagram. My Instagram is @HappyThaiGirl. My website is out of commission at the time. I'm going to try to start up a new one or another way. But anyway, so @HappyThaiGirl, there's a link you can cut and paste into your server, and you can get my cookbook with this recipe and all the wonderful, delicious Thai things. And I'm there. So, happy cooking. Until next time.